Indomitable Yap. Actually, to you from me 2,000 years ago. I am on a walk though, and it's rather chilly. You want to take a look? So nice though. So grateful. All right, so let me see what I can remember from studying today. I was looking into some philosophy, like tidbits to put on here, and whatever. I was talking about Aristotle, and he believed that to live a happy life, you needed to find what was called the golden mean, which is like the silver lining between virtue and pleasure, and knowing where to draw that line. Chatty Boy uses the example of like social media, and if you do it, how much is good for you, and finding that golden mean. And that also made me remember, the backbone of his philosophy and one of his bigger arguments about morality is he believed that God created humans and gave them this inherent morality that you and I may call common sense. Whereas Immanuel Kant, who is another philosopher, would say God created man, but man's morality is not inherent, but rather something that is a duty that you honor and nurture through discipline and obedience. Okay, who else did I learn about? Utilitarianism. And John Stuart Mills and something Betham, which I know that Betham is a philosopher, and he actually got his body like taxidermied and is in like the University of London or something. That's so crazy. But that goes into utilitarianism, and that is that you should always operate in a way that would produce the max happiness to the most amount of people. And John Stuart Mill kind of articulated the why behind that, using and discussing high and low pleasures, saying that things that are selfishly decided or selfishly chosen would more than likely end up with a low pleasure, but when you work for the greater good, you're more likely to have like a higher pleasure. But that goes into utilitarianism, and that is that you should always operate in a way that would produce the max happiness to the most amount of people. And John Stuart Mill kind of articulated the why behind that, using and discussing high and low pleasures, saying that things that are selfishly decided or selfishly chosen would more than likely end up with a low pleasure, but when you work for the greater good, you're more likely to have like a higher pleasure. To me, doing this type, trying to retain information by speaking, maybe someone will learn something on top of trying to write an indomitable world, like my passion. That is a high pleasure for me. So that's how I rationalize it to be somewhat utilitarian, even though I myself would not really say I am. And then another one that I briefly reviewed is Stoicism. This one is very well known, and it is finding purpose in life and finding meaning through controlling what you can control and letting go of what you can't. And when I started studying Stoicism pretty heavily last spring, it was really good for me because there is so much you can't control and I can't control, and just remembering that I'm responsible for not only my emotions, yes, that is a relief, but also to realize that people are responsible for their own emotions too. And I think that's one of the greater things of studying Stoicism. Like for me at that time, I may have been like a people pleaser, etc. But when you take a step back from that and you realize like, okay, well, I can handle myself, so I expect you to. And if you can't, that's literally not my problem, because I try every single day to try and make sure that I do handle myself, in a way of integrity. That is a fucking Stoicism, baby. I think that's all the philosophies that I looked into today, like very briefly, because I've been very bad, very, not even distracted, like purposely checked out, and I always operate the best whenever I'm like obedient to myself and my discipline is on point. And I use Eulalia, my character, who is a higher version of myself, to be like, Eulalia wouldn't fucking quit. Eulalia would keep going. How can I write a character like Eulalia if I can't even act like her? But anyway, these are gonna just get better and better. And let me show you this. It's pretty beautiful. So yeah, one of the first to you from me 2,000 years from now.